Welcome live, ladies and gentlemen, back to the next podcast of the Fox podcast. Today, guys, for the next 40, 30, 20, 10, 50, 60, God knows how many minutes this is, all I can say is to you viewers is stand back, relax, have a shower, have some popcorn, have anything, because for the next God knows how many minutes this is going to be, guys, this is going to be the review, guys, for everyone else out there watching. For all information purposes, this right here, the Fox Podcast, episode 4, What Should I Do? Technically, guys, considering the name of this stream, guys, technically, I really don't know what to say. But technically, it's great welcome on live, everyone. I like to thank everyone for being here. And today, it's going to be great. God knows how long this is going to be. And when this will be uploaded on the internet, but it doesn't matter. But as long as you people are patient, because since the month of April, things have been crazy. And to be honest, guys, for the last time, it's going to be really interesting, because when you look at everything that's happened the month of April, this is what I get. This is what I have. Like, my iPad is skyrocketing over views after views, and not all of them, but it doesn't have to be. And considering the name of the podcast is What Should I Do?, which is not actually a title you should say when I'm actually talking about sports or talking about other things, but yet again, does it really matter? Technically, it really does matter, because, guys, for the past month, this month of April has been great. But it doesn't mean that there has been some moments I didn't like. Like, it was great that the internet has now discovered me, even though I'm still trying to get more than I should. But that's not the problem. That's not the problem. The big problem is mostly, what should I do? Mostly, guys, there's nothing I can do when I talk about the information and some of the stuff that should be like, should have I done better? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? At the end of the day, I really can't say much about that, but still. But the first information I would like to report, guys, is boxing. Now, there's going to be another video, some other topic I'm going to talk about during the end of this podcast. There's only a few topics today, guys, and the first topic is what is going on in boxing. Well, guys, if you guys don't mind going to Tapology.com, Tapology.com, I'll just have it named right here, as if you actually type in TAPOLOGY.com, you'll get some information of MMA fights, boxing fights, any other type of division. You can vote for the people. You can vote for which fighter you want to win from each event. It's a really great site. Sign up if you want to do it. You can see your winning percentages, your losing percentages, and what your points are. You can predict the votes, predict if this fighter is going to win by knockout or by submission, depending if it's an MMA fight or a boxing fight. So it's all in divisions here. But still, go there and come follow me, because I'm actually becoming more active in the division as of right now. So keep that in mind. So here we go, guys. First of all, before I get to the real information, I like to report this, guys, that boxing as of right now, because it's May the 2nd right now, information-wise, well, still it's AM time, but still, the top 10 boxers of pound for pound are here. Number 10, we have a random Puerto Rican that's in the top number 10 right now. He's 20-1, and his name is Sabriel Matias, a super lightweight boxer that's actually in a 20-1, considering he's an IBF world super lightweight champion, considering after his early fights on, and he already has another fight coming in June, so good luck for him. We have a number 9 fighter named Emmanuel Navarrete, as we know, as ever since he was a 38-1-1 fighter, and ever since he scored a draw in November, so now he has to take on an undefeated fighter in May, which I don't think he's going to win. We have number 8, Jesse Rodriguez, the first boxer to ever win a world champion, being born in the 2000s. Not bad. Artur Beterbiev is actually the number 1 light heavyweight boxer as a Canadian person born from Russia, he's a 39-year-old person, 20-0. Pretty interesting. Because I think Dmitry Bivol deserves better. He's number 12. And Kenshiro Teraji, which is crazy because light flyweight, minimum weight type boxers are not that ranked high in the top pound per pound. But considering Kenshiro is, he's already 5 for 6 in his last 6 fights with a loss due to that first loss. So good luck for him if he ever wins another fight. Shakur Stevenson, he's number 5. He's a boring fighter, but we don't know if he's retired or not. Some people say he is. Some people say he's not. And of course, we have Canelo Alvarez, number 4. As of right now, guys, information-wise on BoxRec, as I know, here's the information. Canelo Alvarez does have his own marbles taken care of, and even though I am putting my money on him, May the 4th, Jaime Munguia is 43-0. I do have a feeling he might lose, but who knows? Jaime Munguia might come back from this loss, just like how Canelo lost against Floyd Mayweather in 2014. Maybe 2013. I think it was 2013, but I also missed. Oh, wait. No. Forget it. It was 2013. Because the only fights Floyd ever fought in 2014 were those 2 rematch fights he had. Yeah, against the same fighter. Yeah. Still, Jaime might recover the same way Canelo did. Hell, there was even another Mexican fighter that's actually a cruiserweight champion, Gilberto Ramirez. He lost against Dmitry Bivol, but he's now a cruiserweight champion. So, hey, maybe Munguia might come back from this if he loses against Alvarez. Might be possible. What makes this interesting, guys, is that we have 3 Americans and 2 Mexicans, a Canadian, a Puerto Rican, and 3 Japanese in the top 10. Junto Nakatani, I wouldn't say he's a level A fighter, probably a minus level A, because I do want to see more competition into him. As a WBO World Flyweight Champion, didn't have a lot of boxing in that division. He went to a WBO World Flyweight Champion, won against a good tough competitor. He took on some nobody in September last year, and I thought he should do better, but he decides to go up another rank to take on a guy that had 5 draws, and he won that fight easily. He has to. He's in he's in the bantamweight as of right now. He should just take his time, not push it, because like Anoya in a way is not pushing as much. Also, he's number 1, by the way. Yeah, Naoya is actually number 1, which meant Terrence Crawford is number 2. And in August, he's actually going to fight against a boxer that goes by the name, and this guy barely has 10 fights in his resume. Israel Madrimov, and he is a super welterweight boxer, a WBA World Super Welterweight Champion, WBO Interim World Super Welterweight Champion. He has 10 wins and 1 draw, and I'm like, there's no way that Terrence Crawford is gonna lose this fight. Like, considering that Israel is an Uzbekistan fighter from Indio, California, and there's a lot of people from Indio that are out of the country, and they're even boxing, which includes Alexander Usyk and some other Ukraine boxers, just like Lemachenko and such. So it is crazy. So it is possible that Terrence Crawford might lose this fight on August the 3rd, considering he's in his almost late 30s, considering this guy's 29 years old. But ever since this guy scored a round 3 technical draw in July because his opponent got cut in the left eye by a intentional headbutt, so the fight was stopped by ringside doctor until the start of round 3. So if this guy is really dangerous, he might lose again. He might defeat Terrence Crawford. But technically, guys, that's all the information I have. Technically, does any of this have a chance? Who knows? Like, Jaron Ennis is already in the welterweight right now, and he's already had an easy IBF belt. So all the 4 belts in the welterweight, just to let your viewers know, are all vacated. Terrence Crawford decides to step up to weight class, so I understand why they move him up, because Naoya Inoue is already going to fight on May the 6th in about a few days against another Mexican fighter and against Luis Nure. So it's possible. So it is possible whoever will strip the belts. But people do want to see David Benavidez in the fight. But him being ranked number 16, Yeah. Considering this guy's been boxing for 10 years, he's 27 years old, I would like to say good luck to him, because whoever wins this fight, as Munguia or Alvarez, he might have a chance to just take the belt home, because he has another fight in June the 15th against a random dude named Alexander Golovkin. Gvozdyk. Gvozdyk. Which is a Ukraine fighter, which I have heard, and it's weird because this guy's light heavyweight, and he lost against Artur Beterbiev and his WBC title last October 2019, and this guy decides to go to super middleweight. But then I later looked it up, because this guy was out of the boxing ring for almost 3.5 years after his loss. He comes out of retirement, fights 3 fights in 2023, only to fight against David Benavidez? What? Good luck. Good luck, because this might be an easy win for Benavidez, because after the build is going to be stripped, then good luck. I actually looked this up, and it said this is actually going to be a light heavyweight fight, so reasons why David Benavidez is going to light heavyweight is going to be a good reason. If he's tired of the super middleweight and Canelo Alvarez antics, then sure, what else? It's going to be interesting. This is going to be a little bit interesting to talk about. So, guys, I went to the PBA bowling. It's an interesting topic to understand. Now, guys, the month of April is a month that a lot of people can go forward. And when I come through here, you can find a lot of crazy information. Guys, left-handed bowlers have been in competition for a while, and considering that they're not getting some talent stuff. Like, guys, the month of January, we have Bill O'Neill winning his first title in 4 years to win back his Players Champion. Kyle Troup wins his first major in 3 years. It's good for Marshall Kent, Anthony Simonson to win titles on. Kyle Troup wins his first. The first time Kyle Troup ever won a title that never involved a playoff tour final or a major was way back in 2020, when he won if you don't count the Marshall Holman Mark Roth with him and Jesper Svensson. Before that tournament he won the PBA Jonesboro Open, which was his first, was his first somewhat single title that didn't involve playoff, because for several years, from 2021 to 2022, 23, and 24, he's only been winning the Kia playoffs and the tour finals. Like, this guy just can't get a break on performing full time, and I just, what happened to Kyle Troup? Hell, seeing David Carroll win his title in Delaware, of how fluke that was, is dumb enough. But D-Ron Booker, guys, D-Ron Booker was a great story. D-Ron Booker comes forward in the rankings here. And what makes this one interesting, guys, what should I do in a situation like, guys, this is a question. What should I do? What should I do? A man that has to go in the top 64. Now, here's the rules. You're performing 6 games every day. You go forward and you try your best. If you can't make it to the 64 final playoffs, it is what it is, and that's it. D-Ron has to make sure that he's in the top 64. He's rated number 58. 58. 58 in the USBC numbers. Now, you can still make it there as long as you're taking on the competitors that are in the rights to actually understand how these things work, because you got to understand, it's not if you have what it takes. You have to make sure that you're prepared. So, in competition-wise, there wasn't much to say to yourself that this was a tournament that made you felt to yourself that this was something that was going down? Because the competition said it was this. This is the competition. Now, Deron Booker barely makes it to qualifying. He's number 58 out of 64 bowlers. He barely squeaks it out. So the brackets are it is, because if you're number 64, then you're going to take on number 1. As number 63 ranked, you're taking on number 2. So, and this will be the same thing over and over again. So when looking at this, it's not if you have what it takes. You got to make sure that you're taking on the right fighters and the right people that are in your favor. So first we have Deron Booker. Round 1, round of 64. He takes on a random dude named Gorgio Sanaz. Never heard of him. And surprisingly, to be honest, Deron doesn't do good. Like, he scores 629 to 623. Barely win by 6 pins. Also, guys, in each bracket, you have to play 3 games. And the rule is you play 3 games against one bowler, and the highest person bowling 3 games with the highest advances to the next round. So, Deron, like, not that good. He takes on Anthony Simonson, and Anthony Simonson didn't do good in the first because he took on a guy that scored 503 pins in 3 games, and he scored 582. So this seemed like an easy game. Anthony scored 589, and Deron 623, just like Giorgio Quinaz. So, and that was famous because Anthony Simonson flipped someone off when he during the time when that incident happened. So. But it had nothing to do with Deron. He flipped off someone, and it's on camera on YouTube. You guys can look up Anthony Simonson flipping someone off. And then Deron takes on Jake Peters, and he scores 861 to 672. And then he takes on EJ Tackett, that's rated number 2. And EJ Tackett goes. From round, he takes on Carl Wallington, that's number 63 in the rank. He takes on Nicholas Freiberg. So these were just easy dominated wins. He scored 703, 741. He scored 715 against 622 Jason Belmonte, and that was a great game. And Belmonte performed exceptionally all right in the game, except he had problems in the 32 when he scored 578 against a 572 score against someone else in the round before taking on Tackett. So for reasons what happened, we don't know. But all we know is this: Tackett was scoring 700 pins in all 3 games of each bracket. But then he scores 632 on Deron Booker in the quarterfinals. And Booker, he scores 784. This guy was scoring no more than just 600 pins a game. He defeats EJ Tackett by over 152 pins. And crazier enough, he takes on Sam Cooley, that's a dangerous bowler as well, from Australia. He goes 673 to 605 in the quarterfinals against him. He takes on Patrick Dombrowski, which we know, and Dombrowski, his competition, he defeated one of the Chris Barnes' son that was involved in the U.S. Open Players Champion this year. Dombrowski scored 603 to 639. Deron wins, and he's the number 1 bracket. Patrick's number 2. We know what happened. Patrick squeaked out a win against Belmonte, and if Belmonte won that match, we would have seen a whole different story with him and Deron. And I don't think Deron, because Deron is debuting for the first time in 8 years since he was on the PBA, and he hasn't been good. This is his first time debuting on TV, and he doesn't bowl that good, but that's the same thing as Patrick. Both of them aren't bowling that tough in the championship, but they know that they haven't won a title. So seeing Deron bowl exceptionally fine, not good, but a 218 score is not that bad in game 1, but I'm sure for Belmonte, because if Belmonte would have recovered from how he won game 2, and then if he would have learned from his mistakes with him and Dombrowski, if he did win that match in game 3, he would have been a more dangerous player in the finals. Not trying to hate D-Ron, but even though D-Ron did, it wasn't his fault. He had nothing to do with the semifinals. So, but it's great that you have this because 1993, we like it's crazy because in 1993 we have Tournament of Champions. George Branham III defeats Parker Bone III. Both guys born with their name as the third, and one of them wins the Tournament of Champions. George, the first African American to win. Skip 22 years later, Gary Faulkner Jr. becomes the second African, and he wins the World Championship. Second African to win a title, but only the second to win a major, which is crazy. And keep this in mind, guys. George has won titles before the turn. He won the Brunswick Memorial Open in 1986, and in 87 he won the Delco Classic, the Baltimore Open in 93, and that same year the TOC. 96 was his final time he won a champion, the Cleveland Open. So George Branham III might be the greatest African American to ever win a title, to ever win titles, while Gary Faulkner Jr. has only won one, and that was the World Championship. And D-Ron winning that game and how he squeaked forward, and Patrick Dabrowski would have done better, but at the end of the day, it is hard to perform when you're under the lights of live television. I think that's what causes problems. It is what it is, but you can't hate him for that. It was a good match. Congrats, D-Ron, and it was great. As for the World Series of Bowling, guys, the World Series of Bowling performs are different than USBC. Like, D-Ron Booker had to do what he had to do to barely be in. He was rated number 58 in the top 64 in the bracket. And he goes all the way to the number 1 seed and wins. That's rare for a bowler to be over the 50 line. Top 60 to 60, number 60 to number 64 is an impossible feat to win as long as you're taking on the bowlers that are having a bad day. Anthony Simon had a bad day. EJ Tackett didn't have a bad day after he defeated Belmonte. He takes on Booker and he lost by a margin of pins. We haven't even seen him take on Belmonte. I feel like it was just so crazy that he just got lucky that day. But the WBO, like the World Series of Bowling, was completely different. Now, this is the 15th World Series of Bowling, which congrats to them. 15th anniversary of the World Series of Bowling is pretty awesome. You see Andrew Anderson, Chris Praver win a title. Great for Andrew to win, but he hasn't won an original singles title since 2018. When he was the Player of the Year that time. He was PBA Player of the Year in 2018. He hasn't won an original singles title since. Praver has had problems in 2023 after his 2022 World Championship fluke with him and Sterner. We go to the Cheetah Classic, and when watching the Cheetah Champion see how Dio Bernard won his first title, and that was great for him, that was a great moment in time, because when I'm online and I see these rankings on PBA.com and just knowing the scoring values, it's pretty damn good. And this is what I get. I get so much stuff here. And just give me a second here, because what makes this interesting is that what makes the PBA 2024 good this year, it's not the final matches. All the final matches suck, except TOC, but we'll get to that some other time. I'm going to talk about the TOC another time. I'm just going to stop until we get to the World Champion, because I'm going to save the TOC for another time. But the reason I'm talking about the PBA this year is just different. Because I like to thank every one of you people for voting on my community post and voting for who's going to win the majors. And there was a lot of great votes. A lot of great people voted and great fans. So I like to say thank you very so much. But yeah, when you watch the Cheetah Champion and how that show went on, and because I knew there was chances in life, there were chances. Like seeing Alec Keplinger and him and BJ Moore scoring 235 and 227. Wait a minute, is that the right one? Wait. Yeah, I think it's, yeah. Wait. Was that the right one? Yeah. Like, when seeing the first match with BJ Moore and Alec, a 235 and 227, I was like, wow, this is going to be some tough competition. until Dio Bernard came. And even though Dio Bernard scored a 257, Alec scored a 226 in that match. But yet again, it wasn't bad. He scored 235, 226 in 2 matches. So I can't hate Alec for that. He scored some good average points in that match. He would have been the champion of Cheetah. It's just Dio just had a much better game in match 2. Like, Dio didn't do good in match 3, but still, 234, he didn't do better than in match 2, but still, it was good enough because Michael Sklangbach just was too chicken to be under the lights. And he lost in a 234 to 165, only for Dio to squeak on a 224 to 204 against Marshall Kent. So it was great seeing it, even though I wasn't really expecting. I was expecting Marshall Kent to win that day. And by the way, guys, there's so many predictions I've watched. I've watched every tournament of the week, and every prediction I I vote for Marshall Kent to win. I vote for Packy Hanrahan to win, the Scorpion. I vote for Kawazoe, the Japanese bowler, to win the Shark. I vote for Matt Russo. No matter what, each title match wants to fuck with me. And that's the same thing as boxing. And we'll get to that in a minute. Like, it's so bad. Like, it's like great to see how Jesper Svensson took care of Belmonte and how good of a match that was. It was a good start. Not bad. I think, like, wait, was that the match? I don't think that was the match. I gotta look back at the brackets one bit. I know Kevin Williams won a different match. I can't even talk straight. Like after I saw Packy Hanrahan score a 247, I was like, he's on fire. Only to score a 192 against Matt Russo? People call Matt Russo a nerd for people on the internet treating him like shit and crap. And I'm calling him the 2021 PBA Rookie of the Year that screwed up in the Players' Championship in 2022, and people are still giving shit to this guy. And he won. If there's a reason why Matt Russo is the biggest villain, is because he's not good. This guy, I'm trying to defend Matt Russo. He's dominating the practice rounds for each division to make it to the #1 seed in the World Championship. And he did. We go to the Shark Tournament, and in the Shark Tournament, we have surprising numbers here. Matt Russo doesn't win. He messes up in match 1, which I think we already know, but I'm not going to get to that. Okay? We get to match 2, 240 to 224. Anthony wins, so great. Anthony's at 217 with EJ Tackett's 253, and I'm like, Kawazoe has to do something. I will say, though, Shota Kawazoe has not won one match on PBA television, American soil. He's messing up matches. There was one time he had a 10-pin and he threw in a 10th frame and threw it away. A time in 2017 when he lost in his country, Japan, against Tackett in the final match in the Japan DHC Cup. This guy has no skills of the handle pressure. Like, the only thing that got competition close is that he barely squeaks it out at the end because he scores a full 213. And I'm like, if Tackett misses this, it might be over, but maybe he still might win. He strikes, pins, and that's it. And even though Tackett did what he had to do in the 10th frame because he knew he couldn't win yet, which was 228 to 213, which had to be, like, to be honest, that match in the WBOC title match had to be a more entertaining match. But yet again, it just made me want to puke. It really did. Seeing Tackett mess up on television just to win against this guy, it's bad. And even going to the World Championship rounds were different. Now, I'm going to skip the first 4 matches of that playoff thing a day before. Yes, Eric Jones won, but yeah, again, he didn't have a chance. He was a left-handed bowler. He lost against Tackett. Like 246 to 205. And of course, it's crazy because Graham Foss scores a 2-2, but he would have had a chance to win that match. But EJ Tackett threw barely some of his pins away to score a 213. Hell, EJ Tackett went from a 246 to 213 to a 193 in match 3 with Jesper Svensson that scored a 184, only for Matt Russo to be in the exact same score than Tackett did. He scored a 194 in this final match. Good, but Tackett won with a 225. It's like, it's crazy. Like, EJ Tackett had so much problems in that show. Like, I just don't know how he even managed to handle himself. Like, you look back at this and you think to yourself, God, what? Look at this dude. This guy's winning. He's showing off his baby, but still, he did what he had to do, and he proved to the world. Like, he defeated 4 left-handed bowlers. I just don't know why that these left-handed bowlers are so good when they're behind closed doors and away from spotlights, but when they're on television, I don't get it. Eric Jones, wait, is his name Eric Jones? Like, Eric Jones had to earn his keep. He went from match 3 to score a friggin' 267, and of course he messed up going with 215 in yesterday's match. Like, it's like these bowlers just couldn't handle the pressure because they know EJ Tackett was a dangerous man. Even though he's been having problems and struggles on TV, and they just couldn't put that in his head. I just feel like all these bowlers have no brain, or they just can't focus the pressure. It's like, it just feels like there's so much problems going on. I just feel like they just can't handle it. And as for the TOC guys, we'll talk about that some other time. All I'll tell you guys is that from 2018 to 2024, 5 out of 7 bowlers won the TOC in the number 4 or number 5 seed. That is crazy. Just seeing how Anthony Simonson won his title, winning his first title back in the friggin' Pete Weber Missouri Classic, and how he went through 5 seeds. It's, or even how I think Kyle Troop won a title for some crazy reason. I think he did back. I don't remember. I don't know if he went number 4 or 5 seed or something. I gotta go back and watch the footage, but still, when you look back at this stuff, it's just crazy. It's just, I feel like even if you're a bowler that's not that good, but you're in the number 1 seed and you feel like that you can win, you got to make sure that you're not taking on these dangerous players like Simonson, Kyle Troop, or Jason Belmonte, or EJ Tackett, because every time I see a bowler that hasn't won a title or hasn't done exceptionally well, or like David Kroll, I just feel like these people just don't have, they're under pressure because they're taking on these bowlers that are 10 times better than them, and they just can't handle the pressure. It doesn't make sense because, like, Shota Kawazoe would have won the Shark Tournament and would have done a good job, but for Tackett, he's just so good. Even seeing Tackett defeat Anthony Simonson is a no exception. Like, seeing how EJ Tackett managed to defeat Simonson for the first time in his run and do it again is surprising enough, but these titles and tournaments are just so out of it. I just feel like there's so much problems that in the sport that I just feel like people just can't handle the spotlight on national television. It's a pressure that people just can't breathe, and because there's so much pressure onto them. And it feels like the spotlights are blinding their eyes. Like, can you wonder why Pete Weber wears sunglasses? He's trying to protect his identity for the eyes and protect the eyes and bullet through. Can you wonder why he wins 37 PBA titles? He's that good. Considering he never became a player of the year, but still, he's good. But at the end of the day, guys, 2024 is somewhat of a good year because it's great that the Delaware, Indiana, Missouri, and Illinois Classics were live on FS1 because, guys, from 2021 to 22, 2023 are years that are people playing in flow bowling and live bowl TV and the coverage products. And it's like, how many people are going to watch these products? like how many college fraternities or other people are going to go on the internet and watch bowl TV? It's not entertaining. It's not big time. Like, guys, whatever happened to the time back in 2019? Back in 2019, there was a tournament, one of the final countries that the PBA went before COVID came, known as the PBA WBT Thailand Open, when Jesper Svensson went against Sean Rash in that tournament, claiming his 8th title. Before the show started, they had a bunch of cheerleaders, hip-hop, K-pop dancers, Thailand people dancing, doing crazy stuff before the opening games. I'm like, dude, why is America not doing this? And if you guys haven't, go to PBA WBT Thailand Open 2019, watch it, watch the beginning part of it. It's just seeing how they open and try to hype up the fans and such before the show starts and stuff like that. It's just crazy. America just doesn't have the pressure to put that in, and they don't entertain the fans that much for what it is. And the thing is, you have Matt Russo, a guy bowling exceptionally fine to be on the TV, even if he's not doing good. People are calling him a boring bowler. That's boring. He can't handle nothing. It's like he's such a boring player to watch that he's not as entertaining than how Packy Hanrahan has been entertained by the crowd, because if he's an online person with his friends of Daring Tang, a guy that hasn't been on TV for now several years, and he hasn't even done good since his 2021 season. I just feel like that PBA tours are just such a pain in the butt for people to put themselves into this. It's a suffer, and I just hate it. It really does suffer. At the end of the day, yeah. Like I said before, guys, I'm going to talk about the TOC 2024 some other time. I'm just not in the mood for that, but yeah, it is what it is. Finally. Guys, why is my title, What Should I Do? Why is this the title of the video of the entire podcast? Well, guys, this right here solidified me as the month of April, somewhat of a good year, but somewhat of a infamous moment. And guys, I do like to admit, I do like to apologize to some people around the world, mostly for Korean, Japan, and such, because guys, I don't want to be hateful to these people, but it just pisses me off when you see level of incompetence, because there's so much incompetence that I just don't know why we should sit our butts to watch a fight where one person is getting dominated in their country, for that matter. And why would people want to buy tickets to this? And guys, the main reason I said this hateful stuff online, not because I don't like boxing, it's because I've said this a bunch of times, and I'm going to say it again. Is women boxing dead? Is female boxing dead? That's guys, if I ever had to make a clip right now, this is the title of the clip video of everything. This right here, guys, solidifies why people don't like female boxing. Hyun-Mi Choi, now 21-0-1, steps in the ring against 12-0-4. Jessica. What? This right here just solidifies it as a real hunkadory, because this right here, guys, is suffered. Hyun-Mi Choi is now rated number 1 in BoxRec. Come April 29th, Jessica Kamala is number 19. And as of right now, from May the 2nd, she's now number 9, and Choi's number 11. Now, guys, Jessica's boxing career has flopped. She's 36 years old. She's a Canadian fighter that's fought since 2017. So she fought really late in her career. And her first career in boxing were exceptional. She lost against a woman named Natalie Brown that's 6-3-0, and she got knocked down in round 3 by KO. And then about a couple of years later, she's fighting a few fights against nobody. She loses against a random person by unanimous decision, even though she did put a good effort in that fight. But then the next year in 2021, she takes on Callie Reese for the unified WBA, WBO super lightweight belt. She lost by split decision, so we thought, hey, I think she's back. Instead, in 2022, she takes on two nobodies. And one of them were actually a Brazilian named Da Silva that got her butt knocked out in round 9 by KO against Hyunmi Choi in her 9th title defense in 2021. And then in March, she takes on Carla Ramos Zamora, a journeyman that's 9-9-1. Even her other two fights in 2023 were against females like 5-2 and 3-8. Jessica Kamara is not taking on no one. She has not taken on one top competitor, and some of her resume at the time is horse crap. The only fight that was top good is Heather Hardy in 2021. 6 months after that, she takes on Callie Reese. Those are the two fights that are only fight that she took on competition. And she takes on Cara Ramos Zamora in March before her other fights in July and December, which she won. She lost against Cara Ramos in round 4 by TKO. And this woman would later take on Beatriz Ferrari, and that woman from Brazil would go 8 rounds of distance with her in December. Just so. And what's crazy is that Beatriz was not rated high in BoxRec at the time during the super featherweight. But Cara, her win against Jessica, rated her in the top 3 in the featherweight back in the day. And when Beatriz won, she won, and she was on the top 3 ranks because of that win against a journeyman that took on a Canadian and won. And she took on Destiny Jones, and of course, some days before this fight, she won the IBF World Lightweight title, and hey, good for her. Jessica has not taken on one competition, and everyone saw it in Korea thought, well, this is going to be an easy win. She's a nobody. The reason people are putting Hyunmi Choi into this is dumb enough. Hyunmi Choi was supposed to take on competitors in the top 10 ranks during her WBA super featherweight. From 2017, 2018, 19, 2021, 22, 23, not one woman she's fought against was not even rated in the top 10 in the WBA. Is women boxing dead? It's horrible. But then she decided not to take on Elisa Baumgartner. They decided not to give her a chance. Michaela Mayer, Elisa Baumgartner are fighters that have now got their careers ruined. Michaela Mayer got robbed by Baumgartner in October of 2022. 4 days later, Hyunmi Choi took on another Canadian woman, her 10th title defense, not even ranked, dead. What is going on here? Michaela Mayer already lost another fight earlier, and her career is dead. Elisa Baumgartner had drug problem because she had bicep implants, people stated. She had a rematch against another woman that she once lost before, and she won that fight. And now Choi lost. The super featherweight division, the women's boxing 2022, got no one. No one got over. No one recovered. This is solidifying the reason why I feel like women in boxing are dying for this horrible competition of incompetence because of people like this from Korea. Team Korea is destroying boxing, and they're not giving a chance because they don't want their only fighter from their country to lose their title, because they don't want them to lose their reputation. Because Choi is one of the few females in the Korean boxing that has been in the championship for decades now. And she's been onto it. She takes on one fighter or a top fighter that knows that she's going to get beaten because they don't want their only fighter in the country to lose. Are you serious? I'm not kidding you either. That's what happened. That's why they wanted to take on Jessica Kamara, because she was a nobody. 12-4. And guess what? Jessica Kamara became a nobody, and in Korea on the 27th of April for the WBA Gold world lightweight title, she became a somebody. Even though I really wanted my country to win from Canada. But guys, on Tapology.com, it say that 94% people voted for Choi to win on Tapology.com. Others were 6%. I just agreed and vote. Well, I didn't vote on Tapology, but I did put my money on Choi. This fight was crap. Like, in the first few rounds, I feel like Choi might have won a couple rounds in the first 5 or so rounds, and probably so. But Jessica was putting in more offensive work in that fight, and I'm not going to get into the detail. It upsets me. She takes on so much. She's backing Choi to the ropes. Like, and on live streaming, where live stream cameras at the time were recording this in Korea, on the left side, way far from the gymnasium at the time, from the university gym, they have 20 or 100 people banging on drums, trying to wake Choi up. Like, if you guys watch the stream, a camera pans way to the left, seeing people dressed up in Asian style outfits, banging drums. Like, now, like, it almost looks like we're in a friggin' college thing. Like, they're doing this in a professional boxing match, and Choi is not doing nothing. Who wants to pay money for this? After 6 rounds of boxing at the time, it seemed like competition was even. Like, it seemed like it was 3-3 apiece, but Jessica seemed like she was putting in more offensive work, that it didn't seem like Choi won rounds. Maybe it seemed like Choi won rounds, but it doesn't mean she was winning them dominatingly, because Jessica was more of the aggressor in the fight. Here it is. Jessica is in her movements. Every time she goes for a punch, Choi backs up. She decides not to do nothing. And in round 7, guys, round 7 is a round I will never forget. Jessica does the usual. She backs her into one of the corner ropes. She throws a punch, but Choi gets out of the way. She turns around, turns her body. And at this moment, I'm like, move forward. She got out of the way. She turned 180 degrees around. She went counterclockwise, and now she has Jessica on the ropes. But instead, she decided to back up and let her come forward. Attack the motherfucker already. What is wrong with you? Are Korean people that scared of us North American Canadian lumberjacks? Are they that scared of us? What is your point if you've been a boxer since 2008? Like, Choi is supposed to be this defector girl that left North Korea, and she's backing away. She's not doing nothing. We come to round 8, round 9, round 10. At this moment, I'm tired of judging this fight. Jessica is doing everything she is, and she's doing it good. The fight ends, and the scorecard comes as this. One of the judges gives it 96-94 for Jessica. The second judge gives it 96-94 for Choi. What? This did not look like a split decision. And guys, by the way, guys, let me put this out. Now, guys, a lot of people treat me like crap because of the Lee Lai Wood fight and another Mexican fight I did a month ago, when people said I don't know anything about boxing. I never saw the original fight. There was a fight I once reviewed during the Joseph Parker versus Joey Zhang fight. There was one event on title that ended a split draw, and people thought I didn't look up the fight as much. But guys, I saw this fight 100%. There was a lot of headbutts, punches, and illegal punches, and there would have been a chance that referee Hyung-Han Lee, the referee at the time, would have penalized Jessica. He would have had a chance to penalize Jessica at any point because she was actually putting illegal shots. And there was times that she did do that to Choi and hurted her. For the reason why the referee didn't do that, I don't understand. And surprisingly, you know what judge number 3 did? He scored it 98-92. Jessica won. Anyway, so the scorecards end a split decision. Jessica, WBA gold white title. And the first thing I comment live is, Canada rocks. and Korea sucks. And the reason I did that is because this is what kills women boxing. I feel like the country of Asia is just doing the same thing as Don King's doing. I feel like, guys, the country of Asia, the whole continent, is doing the same thing Don King does. Because when you people look up Don King is this person that doesn't pay you much. Don King only cares about you, like him. He cares about holding on to titles of champions. It's like Trevor Bryan. He gives Trevor Bryan the championship belt against a washed-up BJ Forrest for the interim belt. Years later, he takes on a washed-up Berman Stavern, former champion. He wins. He's fighting against nobodies because Don King is trying to support his fighters while he wants to hold on to championship belts just so he gets paid more. But he's not going to pay more for his fighters. And his fighters doesn't get much money, and they're not taking on top fighters until it happens. Don King ruins a lot of fighters in their career because of that. And I feel like the country of Asia, from Japan, well, maybe not Japan as much, but I feel like China, South Korea, and other countries from Asia are doing the same thing. Mostly the female boxing. I feel like they're doing that because they don't want their country to lose. They're trying to ruin the sport of women's boxing because it's Asia's fault. And that's the main reason why I made that comment statement. Someone did reply back to me saying, yeah, Canada has great fighters, but they have the worst fans. But at the same time, I can't agree with the people hating me. I do apologize for saying that, but I don't know why the country of Asia has to throw this whole dumb tantrum of just not promoting their fighters to just have the balls take on the top contenders. I feel like the team and promoters are just not top contenders because the promoters of Asia just don't have the back money to take on these top contenders out of America. I feel like it's such a tough buy because I feel like the whole continent of Asia has been suffering from this because they haven't had a lot of decency because of, not because that they've had problems with start market, because I know Japan, as of right now, from the time in the 90s and 2000s, Japan's market of the yen are going way down. Back in 2009, you would get $100,000 or 10 million yen equates to $100,000 if you scored a 300 game on television like Rhino Page once did. But as of right now, there's not a lot of money to that. The prices are there and they just don't have enough to promote their fighters, even women's fighters, because they're not tough. There's a reason why Saudi Arabia is now the top promotions of why people are boxing in that country, because it's the money. And I think that's what's killing Asia. They don't want their countries to lose against these countries that have more money than them. It is what it is, but it suffered. Like, is there a reason why America dominated the PBA division in the country of Japan from the Japan Cup 1 from 1989 to 2006 until 2007 to 2012? Some other countries have won titles at the time, mostly Mika Koivu-Yemi, and now we have others until 2019, before Japan won their first cup in a long time in a quarter century. But I just feel like there's these Asian countries just don't have what that takes, because us American people, we're like the giants. We're like the real Godzillas, because us American people are grown up. Us Western people are big, tough dudes that are really big. And no offense with the Johnsons, but still, we just have that leverage. Us American British people, we've been around the combat of boxing during the bare knuckle era back in the 1800s. Hell, Asia has been struggling so much, even since Japan had that horrible, disastrous event back in 1923, which solidified them to be involved in World War II. They've suffered enough already. And it's great that they have some of their boxers in the top 10 pound-for-pound ranks, but I just feel like there's so much problems for this. Does this have anything to do with boxing? Yet again, if there's a reason why Hyunmi Choi's team didn't support her and they just let her took on these nobodies like Don King, there has to be reasons why women boxing is dying because of this type of crap. Her resume says it all. It's just so upsets me to see this stuff happen. And I feel like it's so bad. Us American people are such giant, we have big, large arms. Hell, if you go to countries in Asia and you go to a subway, hell, you can barely sit your butt on a tiny chair that's this big with us having big butts because we're giant people. And a lot of Asians don't see us a lot of Asians don't see a lot of foreign Americans in today's world as much because we're big and we're scary. And they're not trying to be racist to us, they're just scared of us. And I feel that's the reason why there's not a lot of PBA bowlers in Asia that can't take on us Americans, because we've been involved in the sport for a lot. And that's the same thing as combat sports. So, and if that's the reason why Hyun-Mi Choi just couldn't take on this person because she's a Canadian lumberjack or something, I don't know if Jessica Kamara was a lumberjack in Canada. I don't know. I just feel like there's just a problem. And I just want to dissolve these problems before the sport dies, because PBA, bowling, and boxing, mostly for women's sports, has been in a huge problem during the COVID. And I feel like it's killing their aspects on live TV. I just don't feel like women's boxing and bowling and other sports are not getting larger in the sport, mostly for women. Who knows what's going to happen, but at the end of the day, I just feel like some things have to change, and I just wish it can happen sooner than later. Well, that's going to do it, guys. I hope you viewers understand. And guys, for reasons why, what should I do? Because even though the title of this video says, what should I do? Technically, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I should even apologize to this. I don't even know what to do. But yet again, I hope you viewers enjoy this full 1 hour podcast, and we'll see what happens next time. But we'll just have to be back for another podcast some other time. See you next time.